Well, where do I go from there? Pretty much similar reaction to the Palace game, to be quite honest, except that this was more mixed because we were winning 1-0 against 10 men until the 93rd bloody minute. Well, I suppose in retrospect, a point... let's just get this out of the way. I still insist that I think out of the last two games, Palace at home, Southampton away, Sunderland have been in excellent positions in those games, gone 1-0 up in a pair of them, and have we won either of them? No. But on the plus side, did we lose either of them? No, we didn't. Now, especially today, before the game started, I would have took a point. Hands down. I would have easily took a point before the match. And all I wanted, really, by the time the 5 o'clock came in all the 3 o'clockers, was just to be out the bottom three, really. Now, Norwich lost at Swansea, and then Bournemouth won at Newcastle. That doesn't guarantee automatic safety for Swansea and Bournemouth, but I think that sees them almost there. Then you look at Norwich, bad defeat from their point of view, and then Newcastle apparently were atrocious, so, and then Sunderland got a point. Now, before the game, would I have took a point? Absolutely. Of course I would have took a point from the game, but the annoying thing is, again, that we were minutes away from a first clean sheet since the end of November, since we beat Stoke 2-0. Now, tell me in the comments below, how on earth do you manage to go 14 or 15 games without a clean sheet in the Premier League? We were minutes away, seconds away from doing it. Imagine if we'd won today. And just held on for the 1-0 win. We would have been 3 points clear of the teams, Norwich and Newcastle, assuming results elsewhere went the way they did, rather. So, it does feel like 2 points dropped. And to some extent, it is 2 points dropped. But at the same time, people got to remember that we are still out of the relegation zone. We're out of the relegation zone not just on goal difference anymore. We're out of the relegation zone by a single point. It could have been 3, but let's be honest. As long as the table stays that way at the end of the season, so Sunderland 17th, and then Newcastle, Norwich and Villa go down, and we, at the very least, either don't lose to Newcastle or beat Newcastle. Here you go. There you go. There's touch wood for you. Hope I'm a superstitious little bugger. Generally, I'd take that. Is it still a successful season if we finish 17th and all of what I want to happen happens? No, it's not. But let's just get safety. I think a lot of people would assume, though, that because Allardyce was here, if Allardyce was here at the start of the season, Sunderland wouldn't be in this position. Well, the fact is he wasn't here at the start of the season. He's here now, and since in his first 21 games, he's took 22 points. You can't complain too much with that record, to be honest. Quickly go through the goals. Sunderland today, though, performance-wise, played really, really well. We managed to get our tactics spot on, frustrated Southampton relatively comfortably, if you ask me. Maybe only 1 or 2 occasions was Manoni really tested, and that will do his confidence as well to good, especially after what happened there last season, getting thrashed 8-0. So, I do feel relatively pleased with the performance, and I think the red card that Jose Fonte got, I thought was deserved, because Fabio Brini was actually going through one-on-one and brought him down needlessly. Stonewall red card. I personally don't think it is a red card, but that's because my subjective opinion is that shouldn't be a red card by the letter of the law. But by the letter of the law, it is still stated it's a red card. It's denying a goal scoring opportunity. So, fair enough. But minutes later, I can't remember who it was that competed in the penalty area for the ball, but Defoe, from outside, probably about 10 yards or so, or a dozen yards, managed to slot it into the bottom left corner, or top left corner, whichever. It's in the left side of the goal either way. Me and my friends went mental when it was Southampton 0, Sunderland 1, and we managed to take the lead. And of course, as it's being Sunderland, of course we don't hold on to the lead that we should really be seeing out. Ball comes into the box. Van Dijk beats, I think it was John O'Shea who came on for Jan Kirchhoff in the start of stoppage time. And lo and behold, it's 1-1. It is heartbreak, but at the same time, it'd be more heartbroken if we were drawing and that was the last minute winner. So, Bob's your uncle. You just really have to take it on the chin, don't you? I think Sam Allardyce's tactics worked quite well today, because a lot of fans were giving it. Some fans on Twitter before the game were giving him stick for not starting to 4. Now I can understand the logic behind that. We were going to be playing a lot of long balls in this game. We were going to make sure that we just kept hoofing the ball, the ball clear of us every time the ball came near our goal. Who's going to be better up front in that respect, Ndoye or Defoe? Ndoye was the better option. especially to try and keep it at 0-0 for the first hour or so, and then when the game becomes a little bit more stretched later on, you then bring on Jermaine Defoe. Now that worked. Well, it almost did. The tactic almost worked. Now then, if you look at the other one, was bringing on Seb Larsson and taking off Wabi Kazri. Now I agree with that. If people didn't agree with that decision, then here's why. He was on a yellow card. He was walking, not a tightrope, but he was living a little dangerously. We so need him badly for the Newcastle game. Badly. We cannot afford to have him getting sent off in that game. So there you go. While it's heartbreak, a point is a point at Southampton. And to be fair, I bet you, at the start of play, like I said, if you offered a point at Southampton and Newcastle, Norwich and Villa, but especially Newcastle and Norwich lose, you would have took that all day long. So, positives, right? Next week, I'm a Manchester City and Leicester City fan. I don't particularly rate Leicester, but I pray that you beat the Mags, and I hope Man City beat Norwich. But I wouldn't be surprised if an upset, because, like I said in a Roker Report article this week, building up to the Southampton game, since Manuel Pellegrini has announced he's leaving, City have been absolutely woeful in the league. So, but there you go. Look, guys, what do you think in the comments below? Are you happy enough with a point at Southampton, given the circumstances? I'm more happy with it than unhappy with it, as long as we stay out the bottom three. One thing I would say, the derby itself is massive, and I'm going to be doing a preview on this channel, and both on this and the A.F.C, the True Mackems channel. I am going to be doing 2 previews for it, rather. So, but if Sunderland, please, can beat Newcastle, piles the pressure on Steve McClaren. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he was already sacked beforehand. You know, like I said before, Newcastle, if they wanted success, should not have gone for Steve McClaren. I'm glad they did as a Sunderland fan, but you know, they shouldn't have gone for McClaren, because he was never going to bring them the level of success that those fans deserve. Now, obviously, I mean, if he lost his job, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did, he has to go, really. They could bring in, say, David Moyes or Brendan Rodgers. Now, Brendan Rodgers tactically wouldn't suit Newcastle, whereas I think David Moyes at this point in time would, but they would have the new manager impact. But as a Sunderland fan, I rate those two genuinely, so I don't want Newcastle getting those managers. I want them to stick with Steve McClaren for the rest of the season so they can go down and lose to Sunderland, but as long as we stay up, of course. But what can you do? Anyway, it's 2 weeks to the next game, which is the Time Weir derby at St James's Park, Newcastle v Sunderland, Sunday 20th of March. So I would take a point. I'm always negative in that aspect, but I would take a point, because defeat could be massive. And there's more pressure on Newcastle going into this game than Sunderland, because they're at home, the previous derby results, and the fact that they are just in the relegation zone as much in a relegation battle as we are. So let's see what happens there. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, let's just, at least we can not worry next week, as long as Man City and Leicester win, and Tottenham, but there you go. Anyway, guys, love yous and leave yous. Point, better than nothing. Could be worse, though. Could be Newcastle, now that I've said. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens at the end of the season. Anyway, guys, let's just hope we can beat Newcastle. And as long as Newcastle, Norwich and Villa go down, we stay up. That's all right enough. I've rambled on. See you later, and see you next time.